So as you said, I have just now started the recording, and so whoever needs to leave earlier will then be able to watch the rest of the webinar from this, and also those who have registered but haven't had a chance to join in will have access to the same. For the organization of the webinar, we will hold it for about an hour, and the presentation part should be something between 30 and 40 minutes, and the rest would be reserved for your questions. Please feel free to ask any questions using the questions box as we go during the webinar, and I will try to address as many of these as possible directly, and those who I'm not able to answer or that require some detailed explanation that we won't have time to do, I will follow up later on by email. Also, I will keep Lars unmuted, so if you want to add at any point anything to what I'm saying, just feel free to interrupt. I am now going to log in to my project manager's account and show you a project that I have prepared for this purpose. It's a translation from English into German. We have 2 Word files. We have a translation memory with just 2 segments ready to be used. And we have a term base with just 1 term. Maybe we can put a quick stop here and just add to this that there are basically 3 ways that terms can be entered in term base, and that is either manually from the web. This is something that both project managers and linguist users can do. Another option is to import terminology, which is something that only project managers can do. So this was explained during the webinar last week. And the third possible way is directly from Memsource editors, which is something that we will have a look at later on. We just have a question from Therese saying that she has problems with the internet connections and can't hear us very well, so she will use the recording or watch the recording later on. I hope the audio is okay for the rest of you. Maybe Lars, if you think that there are any problems on our end, please let me know. But for now, I assume that the audio and video are both okay. So going back to the project, the project manager would at this point assign the linguist to work on the file. So that would be done from here. I'm choosing a translator. Now you will see I have the translator's name registered as an assigned linguist, and we can also run an analysis, something we haven't done yet. And we haven't done this because if project managers choose this Analyze by Linguist option, then the analysis will directly be assigned to the translator in question, and will be available to the translator as well once he or she signs in to the account. So now we have an analysis. We can just go and have a quick look. We have 34 segments in 2 files. Sorry, we have 40 segments in 2 files. We can leave out the net rate for now. Some of them are repetitions. Some of them are fuzzy matches. I think this is quite obvious to everybody. We have words, characters, and pages, and segments as the count units. Okay, so the next step for the project manager would be to email a notification to you. This is based on an email template, so the content of this email can be different or will be different. There are a set of variables that when the email is generated, will be filled in with the corresponding data. So we send the email, and if I just wait shortly for the email to arrive, this is what you will get when you have a job assigned from TextMinded or any other partner. So there's some text. The variables, as you can see, have been filled in with the data. So we have language English into German, etc. We have 2 files. Most importantly, what should never be missed from the email, what should always be there, is the link which you can use to connect to the project. So let me copy this and open an instance of Internet Explorer just to make it possible for me to stay signed in both accounts as the project manager and as the linguist user as well. I will use my credentials, my username and password, something that TextMinded or your provider will give you, or sorry, your partner will give you. And I log in and I get into a project which, I mean, my view, if I put this side by side, is very similar to the project manager's view, only that obviously you as linguist users do not have the options to edit or save, but otherwise you have the files, you have the analysis, you see the translation memory and the term base, yeah, the next logical step would be to change the status to accepted, which means you accept the assignment and you accept the job, and this step generates an email notification that goes back to the project manager. Before you do this, obviously, you are able to open any of the files or even download as in the original format or as any of the bilingual formats available in order to maybe check the document in case that the original file hasn't been sent to you otherwise, which I don't know if this is the common practice for TextMinded, for example. So let's say we're fine here. We want to accept this job, so we will change the status. And as you can see, the status is now changed to accepted, and we can start working. One of the important things to begin with is that in Memsource you have access to 2 translation workbenches. One is completely web-based. We refer to it as a web editor, and it is available by simply clicking on any of the files to be translated, or if you want to merge more files into one view, you will do this by selecting them and then clicking on any of these. So if I click here, this will open this one file in one instance of web editor. So as you can see, we have 34 segments here. If I select both files and click on any of them, either in this case, we will see we have 40 segments. So both files were merged into one view, one window. So option number 1 is web editor. Option number 2 is what we call the desktop editor, Memsource desktop editor. In order to be able to work in Memsource desktop editor, you need to do 2 things. One is to download and install the editor, and 2 is to download a bilingual mxlif file, which is a Memsource proprietary xlif format, and that is something you need to download and save locally and then open in the editor. Let's just see how we can download Memsource editor. So if you just click Memsource download, you will get to this page, which I'm going to share with you through the chat box. And As you can see, Memsource Editor is a free download, a very lightweight application of approximately 15 to 20 megabytes, and it is available for these 3 platforms. So you simply click download, you download a single installer file, and then in one click you will get Memsource Editor installed. Memsource Editor looks like this. And when you open it for the first time, you will automatically get this page where you will be prompted to enter your username and password and the server URL, which I think will be pre-filled for you. It's cloud1.memsource.com. Let me see or show you what happens if you decide to go and use Memsource Desktop Editor. So as I said, you download bilingual MXLIF file. Again, if there is a way to join or merge your files into one XLIF. So if I select just one job in my project and click to download bilingual MXLIF file, I will get directly to my download dialog box. Whereas if I select more files and click download bilingual MXLIF file, I will first get this dialog window where I'm asked what I want to do, whether I want to join files or zip files. If I join files, I will get a single MXLIF file for both jobs that I will then be able to open in one instance. If I zip files, I will get a zip archive containing separate MXLIF files for individual jobs. We have a question from Therese saying, do I need to open both files at once to get full usage of the repetitions and matches? Exactly, yeah. I would say that probably there isn't really any reason to open files separately. You would always want to open them together, and this way you will be able to make most of repetitions and filtering and sorting and everything that we will see later on. So let me join files, save locally to my desktop maybe, and open in Desktop Editor. As you can see, the indicators are red, and we have an error message saying that the username and password are invalid because that's where I did not enter my username and password yet. The important thing is to get connected, of course, because without that, you will not be able to see any results from the translation memories and term bases, and your translations will not be saved on the server. So you are offline now, and you have no connection to the project. In order to get connected, you need to use your username and password, after which the indicators will turn green and you will start receiving machine translation if that is what your customer decides to use, and you will start getting hits from the translation memory and from the term base. By the way, the advantage of Memsource Desktop Editor is that it actually enables you to work offline if for any reason you need to. So if your internet connection goes off accidentally, or if you're traveling temporarily and you need to continue translating, you will simply be offline, which I can imitate by using a wrong password. So now I'm offline, I can continue translating. I will not see any results from the translation memory. So maybe before you go offline, you will want to go into your project and use the pre-translate button to pre-populate your target segments with any potential resources, either machine translation or translation memory. And then you can go offline and continue working in Memsource desktop editor. Once you go online, the content will either get synchronized itself. I mean, there is a frequency of approximately 30 seconds when the content gets synchronized. If you want to do that manually directly, there is the upload to server button. There's a question from Alessandro saying, could you show again how you called up preferences? It's by clicking on login here or going to tools preferences. So you cannot use a local TM while offline. No, you cannot use a local TM. The editor is simply an XLIF editor that is only able to connect to the project. Otherwise, there is no functionality for connecting any translation memories or term bases locally. Can you add your own translation memories and download the TM from the project? You can only use your own translation memories if you use the concept of project sharing. This is something that we explained last week, and it's a different concept of cooperation, which is the project manager, instead of assigning translations to you as linguist users, can decide to share a project with you as a vendor. For this purpose, you would need to have your own subscription of Memsource, your own account. It can even be the freelancer edition, which comes at 20 euros a month, where you would have you could have your own projects, your own translation memories, your own term bases, and then TextMinded would assign jobs to you as a vendor. They would first of all register you in their account, and they would then be able to shift the projects to you, and this would give you some project management options, such as use your own linguists if you have translation teams, or use your own translation memories, run your own analysis, etc. But as I say, this requires a different cooperation scenario. If you're linguist users, it means you're using Memsource free of charge. It's quite important message, which I'm not sure if it was entirely clear from my introduction. So if you're linguist users, as I say, you're using Memsource free of charge. The editors are free of charge. Your use of Memsource is free of charge. You don't need to have any subscription. Everything will be done by TextMinded in this case, and they will also, in fact, pay for your license. But on the other hand, this gives you no option to use your own translation memories, and also you as linguist users cannot download the translation memory from your account. You can see the translation memory there. You can go and search the content directly from here, something that is also possible from the editors, so you don't have to go from here, but there is an option to do it if this is something that you prefer. But you can't edit the content of the translation memories, and you can't export anything from here. Marek asks, hello Marek, by the way, if you can set the minimum match rate for pre-translate. Yes, let's just go and have a look at the pre-translate options. So there is the minimum limit for matches, and also you can choose whether you want to have your file pre-translated from machine translation as well. And you can also set segment status to confirmed for certain matches. Okay, so let's go back to the editor, and we are now connected. So we will start receiving results from the machine translation in this case, and also from translation memories if there are any. So let's let me use the machine translation suggestion. By the way, I don't, sorry, this was copying source to target. By the way, I don't speak any German, so please don't look at the content in any way. I'm in most cases using the machine translation suggestions, and I will pay no attention to the content whatsoever in terms of the actual language. So I used the machine translation suggestion here. Next to each cat pane result, you will see this number, which means you can use Control and the number to insert the corresponding result. I will confirm the segment. As you can see, I moved to the next segment, and the next segment got pre-translated based on my preferences. So under cat in preferences, you see after confirming a segment, whether I want to jump to the next segment or the next unconfirmed, which would probably be the best option, or the next confirmed, or even the next confirmed in the preceding workflow step, which is something that you probably would never really make use of. And also you have the options how the next segment where the cursor will land should be pre-translated. So whether or not you want pre-translation at all, and then whether you want to insert the best TM match, or if no TM match is available, whether you want to have the machine translation inserted, or if no machine translation is available, whether you want to have source copied to target. So here is where you can choose what should be done on the pre-translation step when you confirm a segment and move to the next one. Also, while we are here, we have some appearance options, so you can increase or decrease the font size for the translated text and also for the panels here. Yeah, that's about it really for the pre-translation. A question came, how did you confirm a segment? There's a keyboard shortcut, Control-Enter, for confirming a segment. What I want to show you is that there is a symbol here which marks this segment as a repetition. All repetitions get automatically propagated throughout the document, but only from top to bottom. So when we translated segment 1, segment 3, because this is a repetition, got also filled with the translation, and the segment status was set to confirmed. But if we change segment 3 and confirm, segment 1 will not get changed. So this is to sort of prevent any unwanted changes to any of your previous translated segments or content. If you don't want a segment to be treated as a repetition, you can simply click on this icon to cancel the repetition attribute. So now it's what we call a repetition exception. And any changes will not be propagated to that segment anymore. If we cancel this and we just use the suggestion from the translation memory, as you can see, segment number 3 gets changed again because it is now again treated as a repetition. There is a question, how did you confirm a segment? Yeah, I said that was Control-Enter. And can I use the spell checker during the translation? And does it work for any language? It unfortunately does not work for any language. I think Japanese is not yet available, and a few other languages, but for most European languages it is available. If I make a typo here, you will see that the word will get underlined, and when we right click we get the suggestion pretty much like in Microsoft Word. We are also able to add this word to our custom dictionary, which means it will be ignored and not treated as a spelling mistake anymore. Maybe we can just go and quickly have a look at the commands for the editing that we have here. This is where you will be able to see all the commands and the corresponding keyboard shortcuts. So it's Control-Enter for confirming a segment. it's Control Shift Enter for unconfirming. Copy source to target, delete target text. Then we have some options for tags. So as you can see in this segment, we have formatting tags, which indicate where the formatting of the source segment is different. And we should copy those tags into the target text. You do this by pressing F8. So either you press F8 here and F8 here to insert each tag separately, or with paired tags you can select the text to be enclosed in tags, and by one press of F8 you get both tags inserted. Can you change keyboard shortcuts? Unfortunately not, for the time being. There is a dedicated page on Memsource keyboard shortcuts, which would especially be useful for Mac users, because obviously the keyboard shortcuts are slightly different for them. So here is a list of all commands and the corresponding keyboard shortcuts for them. I will again paste this into the chat box so that you all have this link. And also I would like to say that when we are choosing keyboard shortcuts, we always try to make sure that they are as close or identical as possible to keyboard shortcuts used by other major cat tools. So Control Enter, F8, Control Insert, Control J for joining segments, etc. These are all keyboard shortcuts that you will most likely find in other cat tools as well. We have redo and undo. We are able to join and split segments. Again, something that I assume you will be familiar with from using other tools. Lock and unlock segments. This is something that is not available to Linguist users. Basically, your project manager user can decide to lock any segment. When they do, the corresponding segment will be grayed out with the lock symbol in here, and that means the project manager wants to protect this content and does not want you as linguists to translate that or edit in any way. Select all. You can perform batch operations. So you can, for example, choose Control-Shift-A to select all and then copy source to target in all segments. I'm undoing this operation now. You can also select multiple segments by clicking on the segment number and holding the Shift button. So if you want to perform any batch operation on a couple of segments, you can do it like this. Let's go back to the list. We have moved to the first segment, moved to the last segment. We have the option to add a comment. There is a little bubble symbol here that if you press Control M or a double click on that, you will get a comment box. I'm not sure about the meaning here. This symbol will change, and this comment will be pasted and kept with the segment for the whole process, and will be available to the project manager or to the reviser, anyone who gets to open this file at any point later on. Okay, for tools, we have find and replace. We have the option to add a term. This is what we mentioned at the beginning. So let's see how that works. If, for example, I want to translate the word Europe as Europa, I will mark it, press Control T, mark this one, press Control T, or as an alternative, of course, you can simply press Control T and type manually, but this would be the easier way to do that. You have a few extra options, such as you can decide whether this term should be case sensitive, or you can even mark a term as forbidden. So for example, I want to make sure that I never translate Europe as Europe. I can mark it as forbidden, and that works identically to other cat tools, I believe. You can also choose between fuzzy and exact, and you have note and usage options, which you can add to the target term. If we add the term to our term base, you will see that now it will start appearing whenever the term Europe appears, or even European, because we chose that term as a fuzzy match, so we also accept morphology endings. As you can see, for the term Europe, we also get these options to edit source and target. So if you enter, as linguists, if you enter a term and then later on you decide, okay, this should be actually fuzzy, sorry, this should be exact, it shouldn't be fuzzy, you will be able to edit this. So now we can change fuzzy to exact and save, and now that term will be treated as exact match. As you can see, you can't do this for the European Parliament term because that's the term that your project manager added. And because we have two term statuses, new and approved, it means that terms added by project managers or terminology users or other linguist users cannot be edited by linguist users. You can only edit your own terms. Okay, we have a few questions. Sometimes it is necessary to unlock a segment to edit an error. Will this be possible to linguists? It would be useful. Yes, this is possible, but it has to be communicated with your project managers first. So if you need to unlock a segment, this has to be enabled by your project manager. Another question: after having inserted all source into the target column, is it possible to delete the rest of the segment when having entered the translation? Yeah, it is possible. It is. Control Shift and arrow down, of course, is possible. All these keyboard shortcuts work as in Word, so you can even select. You can press Control delete to delete whole words, or Control backspace to backspace delete all words, like this. How about an auto-suggest feature for existing term-based entries? Yes, this is available, but for now it is only available for web editor. We'll go and have a look at it in a minute. For desktop editor, we'll be adding this option hopefully very soon. It's planned for the next release, which not take more than a couple of weeks from now. Can I deliver as DLX files from Studio to a project created in Memsource? Yes, as DLX files are supported, so you can upload as DLX files as new jobs into Memsource. Okay, let's maybe have a quick look at the auto-suggest before I forget to show this to you. So if we open this file in web editor and I start typing European, I will get suggestions including the term-based entries. So that's how that works. You can also see that European is no longer suggested because we changed that to exact, but here in this case it will be recognized, and also we will get the suggestions from the term base. Okay, back to the desktop editor. More options for formatting, something we haven't mentioned yet. So these 5 formats are directly supported in Memsource editors: bold, underlined, italics, superscript, and subscript. These formats you need to reproduce directly in the editor. So if there is bold underlined in the source, you need to do the same in the target. If there are any other formats, such as in this case, I think it's a different font color, these are defined by formatting tags that you need to reproduce in the target as well. Quotation, you can choose the style in which quotes will be written in your target text or also in the source if you edit the source. By the way, this is something we haven't mentioned yet. By pressing F2, you will be able to edit the source in case you need to correct any typo or any other obvious mistake, for example. So that's for quotations. You can change the style for your target text. Also, there is an option to show and hide spaces. I hope you can see this. There are small dots in places of spaces, which you can show or hide using this toggle button. And then for the downloading options, if you like, we call this document, but maybe it would better be called download. You can view the original, so at any time I can open the original file in its original format. As you can see, here is the reason why we get the formatting tags. We can preview translation. So again, we'll get a document generated, which obviously in this case will only contain these 4 segments because the rest of the document hasn't been translated yet. We can export to bilingual Docx, quite an important option. Let me show you how that works. We can export into a 2-column Word file, which can, for example, be used for spell checking and grammar checking, and it can be used for any other editing, really. So if I edit this segment and I save this and close, I can then from the editor import this bilingual Docx into my project, and this will also include the edit done in the Word file. And yeah, I mean, this is about all the commands that you can really use from the editor. For web editor, just a small side note here, we try to make these 2 workbenches entirely identical. All the keyboard shortcuts are identical, and the commands are available in both platforms. The only exception would be that for some features which may be more complicated or something like that, we may implement them in one platform before we go to the other. So this is, for example, the case of autosuggest in this case, which is only available in web editor for the time being. But whenever this happens, it is our ambition to bring the 2 platforms really back together in all features. So it may happen that one option or feature will only be available in one of the platforms, but you can expect it to be introduced in the other one very soon. Okay, if we go back to the editor, and maybe I will just confirm the segment here and confirm this, and then I will copy the source to target in the rest of the segments and confirm. So now, as you can see, we are 100% completed. And let me just create a few errors here. So we are supposed to use the term Europäische Parlament. I will just delete it from here. And we have a few segments containing numbers. So I will make a mistake in that number, and I will put a double space here and an extra space at the end of the segment here. And also I will have a repetition, but actually I will use different translation here. Okay, now what I want to move to is to the next step in the process after you complete the translation, and that would be quality assurance check. Maybe we can just make a quick stop in the search button, just to let you know that we enable Concordance Search from the translation memory and from the term base. So in this case, we would get the hits from the term base as well. We have two options, and that is you can search as if it was with an asterisk, so it's a fuzzy search, or you can do exact search. So if we go Peoples of Europe and press Ctrl K, we will be searching for all segments that actually contain any of these words. So that will be including of. If we press Ctrl Shift and K, we would just be searching for this exact phrase. So a few questions have arrived in the meantime. Which formats are available for preview? Well, in the preview, you generate the file in its original format. So any format that can be imported into Memsource will then be available for preview. Will it be possible to save unilingual files to our machine? Yes, if or unless TextMinded decides that you are not enabled to do this. So it is actually, I can go to the project manager's view and show you how that works. A project manager is able to go to Access and Security and say linguists may not download their translation jobs, in which case, if you go to your project, this download button would be gone, and you would only be left with the option to open your files in Memsource web editor, and you would not be able to download any bilingual or monolingual content from your project. This is really to make it possible for project managers to present to their customers mostly that when confidentiality is concerned, or when extra confidentiality measures needs to be adopted, that they will be able to do this using Memsource. When would I use the offline and when the online workflow? What is the standard scenario for the translator? I would say that I mean, for me personally, when I translate, I always prefer the desktop editor. It seems a little bit more fluent and sort of more stable and powerful. On the other hand, this requires you to download the editor, install it, and then from your project, you always need to download the bilingual MXLib file and save it locally. So there are a few extra steps that you need to take, which may not be necessary if you're translating a very short piece of text. So while using the desktop editor, using the web editor really means just one click and there you are, and you can start translating. Using the desktop editor requires a few more steps. Also, the web editor will be a little bit more demanding in terms of your internet connection quality. So if you are on a poor internet connection with maybe GPRS from your mobile phones, you will find the use of web editor a little bit complicated. I mean, the response, the fluency may be a little worse. So I wouldn't say that there are any typical scenarios. I would really leave it up to you to decide. As you can see, both workbenches get connected to the project and everything happens in real time. So you can even switch from one to another. You can translate a few segments in one of the editors, and then if you decide for any reason to go to the other editor, you simply switch and you continue working in the other editor, and then you can come back again. So it's really up to you to test it, give it a try, see what works better, and decide which platform you want to use. Will Memsource conflict with Trados Studio when both installed in the same workstations? We haven't heard any complaints to this respect. During my last job, I had a problem with QA in online editor. I was not able to see the last column on the right. Is there a way to resize the columns for QA? Yes, you can resize the column, but not in the, well, does it? Yeah, it does work. It wasn't possible some time ago. It doesn't really feel too fluent, I have to say, on the Internet Explorer, but it is possible to resize that. It is definitely a little more user-friendly in Desktop Editor, where you can even take these tabs and you can place them in different places on your screen. So you can have like the cat tool here, and then you will be able to place it like this, or even on another screen. If you're working on two screens, you can rearrange the layout of these tabs in the editor. I do not see the analysis even if TextMinded PM analyzed the files. Why? This would be because the analysis has not been assigned to you. So as you can see, the project manager needs to assign the analysis like this. When we click in the project from the Linguists side, you see the analysis is there. If I go to the project as a project manager, I cancel the assignment, you will notice that the analysis will disappear from here. Yeah, let me just reconnect to the account, and yeah, you will see the analysis is not there. So it really depends on the project manager, and you should talk to them about this. Using the desktop editor and using the desktop editor offline are two very, very different ways of working. Offline, you don't have access to the TMs and TBs, right? Yeah, that's correct. So we definitely recommend that you stay online all the time. By the way, I don't really think there are too many ways when, as a translator, you would want to work offline anyway, because you will probably need to work with your browser and sort of, you will have a lot of online resources, and you may need to check things on the internet. So I don't really think nowadays working offline makes any sense, except when this is in some emergencies, when your internet connection goes off, or when maybe you're traveling temporarily, or if really, I would say it only makes sense for short periods of time. Okay, where were we? Yeah, the QA check. So let me just put this back in here somehow. And yeah, we run the QA check by simply clicking on the QA tab and then clicking on Run. And we will get a list of problems, segments where Memsource identified problems. As you can see, we have a lot of spelling errors because we did something that we were not really supposed to do, and that is copy the source segments to the target and confirm. Whenever you have a warning that is irrelevant, you simply click in the ignore column to mark it as ignored. You can also hide those ignored for more convenience when doing the QA check. So let me do this. Also, you can, if you click on type, you would be able to sort all the warnings by type, and you can then select these all spelling problems and ignore them all at once. We can return back to our previous view, and hide ignored to, yeah, we have a few more here. Sorry. Yeah, good. So now we're left with just the relevant problems, and these would be terminology. So European Parliament, as if you remember, we deleted the word European from the translation. So now the term is marked as missing. We have a tags and formatting problem here. As you can see, there's italics in the source, but we didn't use italics in the target. So maybe we want to fix this. We have inconsistent translation, saying that we have identical source but different translation. The good way to sort this out, because these segments may be 1,000 segments apart, is to select the text from the source and then press Ctrl Shift and F, which will filter for this content. So now you can see, if you use the case sensitivity, you will even be able to get better results. So now you can see both segments next to one another, and maybe you want to decide that you want to choose this version for both segments. Clear will cancel the filter. Trailing space, that would be an extra space at the end of a segment, which is something you don't want to have in your translation. Missing number, obviously this is the mistake we made, and multiple spaces, again, something we need to fix. Two terminology errors. So as you can see, because we copied source to target, we don't have the corresponding equivalence in the target language, but maybe we know why we did this, so let's ignore these two. We can try again. Okay, we get another error, which was the terminology. So let me use this term, and okay. And yeah, also we get a warning for unresolved comments, but maybe you just want to leave it like this because you want your project manager to see that as well. If we run again, we just get this one warning, and then at the end of the process, because if we go to the Linguists account, you will see both files are now at 100%. You will mark the two jobs and change the status to completed. Obviously, you can also deliver just one of the jobs at a time. So you can change the status to completed for just one of the jobs, and this will leave the other one as accepted, and this one will be completed. Just note that once you set a job to completed, and this is an important message, you will lose, as linguist users, you will lose access to this file. So you will no longer be able to edit this document. You can't download, you can't change the status, obviously, and you can't open this file in Memsource web editor anymore. If you discover later on that you need to edit this file for any reason, you just realize that you actually made a mistake and you need to fix this, you need to let know your project manager, and all that needs to be done is the project manager will change the status from completed back to accepted. And now if we go to your view, you will see the status changes back and you regain access to the document. A few more questions here. Can you exclude any segments from the QA check? This is something that only project managers can do, and that only applies to locked segments. So your project manager can, if we go into the file, maybe I can just show you how that locking works. So this is what the segments will look like, and in the project setup or settings, your project manager can decide to exclude locked segments from QA. Otherwise, there is no other exclusions, no other way to exclude any content from the QA check. Do you happen to know if Verifica can check the MXLib files? I'm not sure about Verifica. Memsource does integrate directly with Xbench. So that is where you can directly use MXLib files. I think it's Xbench version 3 and higher, which actually is the correct is the current version, I believe, as well. So we do integrate with Xbench. With Verifica, I'm not sure, but because MXLib files are in fact standard XLib files with just a little proprietary touch on them from our side, you should be able to open them in any tool as standard XLib files. Also, can you set up your QA, what to check? This is something that we are working on. For the time being, you can only run a general QA check, including all the things that your project manager has selected to be checked. We hope that very soon we will be able to introduce a new option where you will be able to, instead of clicking on run to run the general check, you will be able to choose, for example, I want to check for numbers only, and then I want to check for terminology. But it is not possible at the moment. When the translator does QA check and ignores segments, will they once again appear for the reviewer? Yes, they will. They will appear, but will be marked as ignored. So when the reviewer goes in, they will see this view, and they will be able to unignore if they need that, or fix even those that were ignored. But we keep the ignore flag in order to carry forward the message that the translator saw these segments, checked these segments, and decided to ignore for whatever reason. That should, by the way, be obvious. I missed how the delivery process works when you work with the desktop editor. Can you briefly show again? The delivery process is done on the web, so it is completely independent of which translation workbench you use, whether it's the desktop editor or web editor. So basically, after you finish your translation in whatever workbench you use, you will then go to your project online and change the status to completed in order to deliver. Does the PM need to create his own settings, or is it already selected by default for QA, for example? Yes, this is selected by default. So if we go to the project manager's account under setup, they have quality assurance settings that will apply globally to the whole account. And then on top of that, the quality assurance settings can be customized and changed on a per project basis in each project. Please stress the importance to complete the translation before changing the status. Once completed, the project is normally set automatically to the next step in the workflow. Also, if there are many files, the PM will most likely prefer one delivery email. Yes, yeah, this is absolutely correct. But definitely, again, this is something that should be communicated between the project manager and the linguist user. From our perspective, any way is really possible, and some partners in the translation process will require a different approach. So this is something that you should communicate to your linguists and make sure that you're both on the same wavelength. Okay. There is a question for Lars. I don't know if you can see it. Let me try and copy it. No, I will show it like this. Okay, Lars, can you see the question now?
No. Where is it?
It's on the shared screen, or is it not visible? Well, yeah, I'm afraid you won't be able to see that. So I will read it for you.
Yes,
Who will send the files to the Lego proofreader? The linguist or the PM after the project status is completed? Will Lego proofers edit in Memsource? And it's a question from Gracinda Mendez.
Could you read it again? Sorry.
Okay. Who will send the files to the Lego proofreader? The linguist or the PM after the project is completed? Will Lego proofreaders edit in Memsource?
I must admit that I don't know that. I will look into it and I'll get back to you, Jacinda.
Okay. For myself, I can just describe the process that happens in Memsource. If there are more workflow steps in your project and you're the linguist assigned to the translation workflow step, and there is a proofreader assigned to the next workflow step, then the moment you change the status to completed, there are 2 email notifications sent from the system. One goes to the project manager telling them that you finished. The other one goes to the proofreader telling them that they can start proofreading because the previous workflow step has been completed. So I think this is the procedure that will also take place in TextMinded. Okay. So we are well past the 60-minute window that we reserved for this webinar. I'm just aware of one thing that I actually forgot to show you, and I will do that quickly. And please feel free to ask any more questions while I'm doing that. You see this little triangle icon here, which triggers a filter and sort option. So you are able to filter, for example, if I unconfirm this, I will be able to filter for not confirmed segments, which would show me just this one. I can also filter by the pre-translation status, so those segments that were pre-translated from 101%, I want to see separately and do it like this. I can also filter by the created by, modified by, and show changes, which is not visible here because we haven't got any workflow steps in this project, but this option would be especially useful for proofreaders. They will see the list of people who worked on the file, and they can filter for just segments translated by specific users. And also we have the sorting options here, so we can sort alphabetically, we can sort from shortest to longest, or the other way around. And we can also sort by repetitions. So this way you can get all repetitions at the beginning and maybe pre-process them before you actually start with the rest of the translations. So that's something I forgot. And in addition, there is the filtering box, which I already showed you. So you can filter in both source and target for any content in your translation document. Okay, another question. How and where can you see the changes made by the proofreader once they are signed back to the translator to check? This is something that goes more to the project management side, but let me quickly show you how that works. If a project manager wants you as translators to come back to the file after the proofreader does their part of the job, they would edit the project and create 3 workflow steps. So it wouldn't be 1, 2, 1, but it would be 1, 2, 3. Then we have these 3 steps here. There may be a reviser assigned to the next step. So let me quickly do this, and also open the document as a reviewer and make a few changes here. So changes, and I will delete this and add something in here. So this is the proofreading bit. And now if I come in again as a translator, I would be assigned to that step again. I would receive a notification. If I go to the file, this is where I will be able to see the changes done by the proofreader. So as you can see, we have the changes here, and we can also use track changes, and we will see what has been changed and how that has been changed. We can also at this point filter for segments that were changed in the revision step. So I only get these 3 segments now listed or shortlisted because these were those that where I made my changes. Can you see this in web editor and in desktop editor? Yes, the changes are available in both editors. The next question: how can Memsource be used with Tandem translator? So if you have two translators assigned to a job, yeah, you can do this. The project manager would need to split a file in 2 parts, maybe, and split a file in 2 parts, and maybe in just this workflow step. Now the file is split in halves, and these can be assigned to different translators. Another question, can I do analysis myself as a linguist? I would like to know about matches in the remaining segments as I go along. Unfortunately, this is not possible, but very soon we will improve on this dashboard, which is also available to translators. And this will give you a detailed view of your progress. So you won't be able to run analysis as they are, but you will be able to see the progress as you proceed through the file and all the way to the completion. So this will soon be available. Can I translate Memsource documents received from TextMinded in my Trados Studio 2014? This is definitely something you should consider and discuss with TextMinded especially. Technically, it is possible because you can export an XLIF file which can then be opened in whatever tool. But also technically, you will not be connected to TextMinded translation memories. You will not be connected to their term bases. You will not send your translations to the translation memory as you proceed through your translation. So in many ways, you will break the rules, if you like, probably, or you will not proceed in the way that you are expected to. And for example, TextMinded will not be able to see the progress because the content will not be synchronized. So this is something you need to think about, and you need to discuss with TextMinded to see if they authorize such use or not.
Vaclav?
Yep.
Just a quick comment on that. Per default, we do not approve of that.
Okay.
We want you, if you get a Memsource job, we expect you to complete it in Memsource.
Yeah, that's absolutely reasonable and expected attitude, I would say. Okay, so people are starting to slowly leave the session, so because we are now a quarter of an hour over the planned window. I don't know if Lars, you want to add anything to this? Otherwise, yeah, go on.
Yeah, just quickly, thank you all for joining, and we hope you learned a lot of new tips and tricks and feel comfortable working with Memsource. I'll send out a follow-up email with a link to the recording, and there will be a link to our YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you all for joining, and goodbye.
I'm also pasting our email address to the support desk. Whenever you have any problems that you can't sort out with your project manager, probably your project manager should be the first person to contact with whenever you have a question or problem regarding the use of Memsource. But whenever this is outside their business hours, or you don't receive a quick reply, or there is any urgent need or anything like that, please feel free to contact us on our support desk. We will be able to set up a quick meeting and share screens with you, for example, to sort out your problem quickly. Also, we have a support forum, which is available from support.memsource.com. And this is a knowledge base of all previously asked questions and the corresponding answers. And you should be able to get the answer there. And now I'm thinking the address is wrong. No, it is correct. Okay. Yeah, we call it support forum. So I just, for a moment, I wasn't sure if forum was also part of the name, but it is support.memsource.com like this. So yeah, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you for spending your time with us. And I hope you will all enjoy your Memsource experience and that Memsource will become one of your preferred CAT tools in the future. Thank you very much.